Alright, so I was going to take a moment to kind of explain how everything works in Wrectified. So if the mouse control properties change, it triggers the actor controls. And the actor controller rotates these shapes over here, which are invisible and no collision, so they're not really in the game. They just kind of follow the guy around. So when those rotate, you'll notice that the actor rotates because he's using a copy rotation constraint. So that way I can control his spine. So I turn those mouse values into spine rotations using this. And it's math and stuff. Like totally math and stuff. But you'll notice the way the actor's spine moves is pretty fluid. So what happens is when you move the mouse, this thing detects how far the mouse was moved and then saves that value and moves the mouse back. And then it takes that value and adds it to the actor's X or Y value within a cap. So that way you can't rotate around Exorcist style or whatever. You're limited to a certain range. And that's how that works. And the mouse controller can be retargeted to another actor. Let's add him to the scene real quick. Now there'll be two actors. If I switch to him, now mouse control is targeting him. So, same with a keyboard controller. This takes your keyboard presses and converts them into a list and then pipes the list to the actor. And this is the logic for that. It generates two lists. This one's movements, this one's actions. And then when they send the movement or an action to the actor, it activates them. So that way actors that aren't being used fall into idle. So if you have a car and you're driving it and you get out, the car will just fall asleep on its own without any problems. I'm going to actually add the motion sensor when they add that so that things will wake back up if they're bumped. So if an actor falls off a ledge, then they'll wiggle their arms, or when they hit the ground, they'll make the impact. But the key is to have them not use any resources unless stuff is happening. So you notice my logic usage and all that's not very high for all that I have going on. Physics is pretty low. Animations is okay. Everything's using an armature here. But these guys aren't using skin. They're only using the bone parented objects, which uses less but still uses animations. Oh, he shot his friend. Jeez. A little aggressive. Alright, so once we had no health, then now he's not going to shoot us anymore because we're dead. But I don't have ragdoll for the actors yet. There is for the enemy robots and the friendly robots. So on to the enemy robots and friendly robot physics. So this is the actor that spawned. And all of his child shapes move every frame and then are reparented back to the compound root object. So this is the root. And then every frame, the child shape will move to match a tag associated with it. And then the tag is moved by the armature. So this way these physics shapes actually match the armature positions without recalculating triangle mesh every frame or anything that uses a bunch of resources like that. So that's how we get these accurate collision shapes, is that I actually unparent the child shapes and reparent them each frame after I move them to where they're supposed to be. So you notice the physics are pretty different in this game. You can actually bump up against walls. My mic just turned off for a second there. My gun won't clip inside of the wall. If I bump into something with the gun, it'll affect it, which which is a little different than most games. Turn on the physics visualization. So you'll notice when I duck, the head shape ducks down, so his physics shape actually changes and it's not just his graphics mesh. And then when I pick up an object, you can see its bound is there with mine. That's because every time that the object moves every frame, it's unparented and then reparented, compound to the root. You can see the contact points there.